Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kayn basic guide, which obviously means a Kayn complete guide is going to be coming real soon. But anyways, let's hop straight into talking about Kayn himself. Now Kayn is a very unique champion for two reasons. Firstly, number one, he can go through walls with his E, which not many champions can do. He can literally sit inside a wall with his E. Secondly, he is the only champion in the game who has truly two forms. And when I say truly two forms, I mean there are a lot of champions that can change forms, like Jace, who can go melee to range, that kind of thing. But Jace needs both of those forms to actually be a champion. Whereas Kayn is the only champion in the game who either goes form A or form B. And what I mean by that is, of course, as Kayn, you can go to Blue Kayn, which is the Shadow Assassin, to become basically a full-on assassin, and B is Rust Kayn. So Rust Kayn, obviously, you become a tanky champion who, of course, does do not too much damage, but does have a lot of sustain and tankiness. And obviously, because Kayn has two unique forms, he has two unique playstyles and two unique sets of runes, two unique sets of items, everything, because basically he is two different, almost like two different champions. Of course, his abilities do get changed depending on what kind of form you go, and you can actually see here you have default form, Darken, and Shadow Assassin. Default form is before you actually go into one of your forms, and of course you have Shadow Assassin and Darken. So anyways, of course, as usual, let's jump into the practice tool to talk about his skills. Okay, so this is gonna be quite a complicated explanation because as you guys know, you have all of your normal abilities plus you have three different forms to really explain. So this is gonna take some time, but of course just bear with me. So of course we're now in Kayn's default form. So first thing I'm gonna go over is Kayn's passive. So Kayn's passive is this bar you see at the bottom. You can see there's a blue or you can't really see because the bar is not filled, but there is a blue bar and there is a red bar. Basically, if you manage to fill up your entire red bar, you get red form. If you fill up your entire blue bar, you get blue form. And you can fill up both bars simultaneously. So you don't just have to fill up one bar at one time. You fill up both at the same time. So red is for the Rust form, and blue is for the Shadow Assassin form. So in order to actually get orbs for red form, you have to attack melee champions, and for blue form you have to attack ranged champions. For example, this dummy is counted as a melee champion, I believe. So when we attack him, you can see we're getting those red form orbs. You can see our red form is beginning to charge up. Now unfortunately, I don't really have a ranged champion to demonstrate this on. I could make the dummy ranged and demonstrate this, but I don't really think that there is a point. You know, just take my word for it that the blue form is going to charge up when you get the blue form. So your passive has a unique passive for both Shadow Assassin as well as the Rust form, but we're gonna go over that when we get to those forms. So I'm first gonna go over his normal Q. So his normal Q is basically a short dash followed by a spin. So both parts do damage. So for example, here if I dash through this guy, he's gonna take the dash damage and the spin damage. So dash damage, spin damage, like so. However, you can also just hit one part. So for example, if I dash, I hit nobody, I spin, I hit someone, that's going to do two parts of damage here. Of course, to maximize your damage, you want to dash through and then spin, but you can't always exactly reach the target on the dash all the time. W is a straight line skill shot that basically just does damage in a straight line like so. And your E is the one that allows you to walk through walls. So when you pop your E for a few seconds, you're gonna, or not for a few seconds, but just for a brief moment, you're gonna get the ability to enter a wall like that, and then you can just walk through a wall all the way until this ability runs out, and then it's gonna put you out of the wall. So while you're in the wall, you can actually just literally sit in the wall and just do things like that. But when the timer runs out, it's gonna spit you out in the closest direction. So if, for example, you saw I was closer to this side, it spat me out on this side of the wall, closer to the tower. But if I go to the other, closer to the other side, it's gonna shoot me out off to the other side, like that. So for his ultimate, he actually goes into someone and becomes untargetable. So here I'm going to go into this dummy. So I go into the dummy, I'm untargetable, and then after a fixed duration, you can choose which direction you want to come out, and then you will exit the person. Now you can also reactivate this early to come out earlier if you so choose. So now I'm actually going to go over the red form of Kayn first, and in order to do that, let me just get the red form myself. So here you can see when your form is ready, it's going to be in the base. So you have to sit here for like maybe like 2 seconds or so to actually gain the form like that. So here we have the red form of Kayn, which is Rust. So I'm going to have to open up this tool for this one. So you can here you can see that when you're in your red form, you will heal for 32% of the physical damage dealt to champions. Basically, essentially, you get free healing from your passive. 32% is, of course, at max level, which is what I am at now. So you do get extra healing off of all of the abilities you cast. For your Q, I believe you get percent of your target's max health damage on your Q, sorry. So it's gonna do basically just more damage based on your enemy's health. And then for your W is this one. It now has a knock-up, so anyone who's in the W is going to get knocked up. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to just put a couple more dummies here, and you can see that here I can actually knock up all of the dummies at one go. So your E doesn't actually have any change. As a matter of fact, it kind of gets nerfed in a sense that you can only enter the wall for a very brief moment now, and you're going to get kicked out of the wall. So your E kind of it becomes a little bit worse, but the E is more so for Shadow Assassin, and your R doesn't have really any change at all either. It's pretty much the same. So whereas on your blue form, which I don't know how I'm going to demonstrate this because it's really difficult to actually get blue form in the practice tool, and besides I'm already at red form. If I reset level for myself, I believe I'm still going to be in red form. Oh, actually, it reset me right to normal form. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. Maybe I will just go over what the changes are. So you can see, Shadow Assassin, after Kayn has not taken damage from champions for 5 seconds, his attacks and abilities deal 44% magic damage to enemy champions for 3 seconds. So essentially, it just gives Kayn extra damage. His blue form passive basically gives him extra damage. So this is really important to note because this is what makes blue form Kayn really strong. So blue form Kayn Q has no difference. Blue form Kayn W allows you to actually move while you use the ability and has a little bit of a bigger range as well. So here you can see that when I cast my W, I can actually move. There's a casting animation, but when I'm in my blue form, this casting animation actually disappears. So I can actually walk when I'm casting my W, which, as I said, is really difficult to actually demonstrate in the practice tool, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. And your E also gets a pretty big buff. You can see that when you cast your E, you gain 75% extra movement speed instead of just 35%, and you become immune to slows, which previously was not actually the case. And your cooldown is now going to be reduced to 7 seconds, which of course the cooldown is gonna be quicker and quicker the more and more you level up. But basically, you have a very short cooldown on your E, and you get more movement speed, etc. And your ulti also has a pretty big change. So for your ulti, what's gonna happen is you have more range on your ulti, and it's gonna refresh your damage passive when you're in Shadow Assassin form. So those are pretty much the changes for Kayn when he goes to Shadow Assassin. So for the leveling order, level 1 you want to start Q, and then for your clear of course, and then level 2 you go for W and then E, and then you max Q first. Of course you take your out when available, which I forgot to do there, but you max your W next, and then you max your E at the very end, like so. So now I'm going to talk about Kayn combos. So Kayn combos is actually pretty simple. He basically only has one real combo, which is basically WQ auto attack or WQ ult. Basically, whenever you are attacking enemy, let's say I'm coming in for a gank, you always like gank with your E, and then you come in with your W, your Q, and like your auto or your ult, depending on what you want to do. But basically, your basic combo is always WQ. You don't want to QW because you QW, it's not as smooth. You want to always W first, then you Q, like so. It's going to be even more smooth when it's in Shadow Assassin form because you have someone to cast the W for you. But here, as I mentioned, basically you want to W, Q, and then you can go auto attack, Or you can go W, Q, ulti to like prevent yourself from getting hit, and then you wait for your cooldowns to come back up, and then you W, Q again when you come out of your ulti. So that's pretty much Kayn's only combo. So now I'm gonna go over some tips and tricks with Kayn. So with Kayn's Q, you notice that you have a dash at the beginning. You can go over small walls with this dash like this one. Even this one you can actually go over with the dash, but you know, if the wall's too thick, walls like this, you can't actually go over. You have to go to the thin part, you can actually go over. This is very useful, particularly in cases where you want to go over, for example, the dragon pit wall for a steal. You can actually just dash over the wall, smite, and then E back out, or you could do it the opposite direction, which is you can E through the wall, smite, and then Q out over here. Now the indication actually tells you whether you're going through the wall or not. So here you can see the indication shows I'm not going through the wall, but if I go here, it does show me that I will go through the wall. So if you have time to actually wait 1 second to check the indication, you should do that. But of course, if you're like running you're 1 HP, you're running from an enemy, you don't have time to do that. You just run and you just dash straight away, of course. So next tip comes in with your W. So you can actually W when you're inside a wall. So in case you guys didn't know, when you're in the wall, you can actually still cast your spells. You can W, you can Q when you're inside the wall, but queuing inside the wall doesn't really do anything, it doesn't really help. But when you're inside the wall, for example, if there is an enemy dummy, let's say there is an enemy dummy over here, and let's say you're coming from over here, what you can actually do is you can actually walk through this wall, and while you're in the wall you can actually just W the enemy. You don't even have to exit the wall, you could just go in and W. Of course, what makes more sense is you probably want to W and then Q out and start going on the enemy, because what's the real point of just Wing and running away? I guess you could get a little bit of poke, that could work, but you can actually W when you're in the wall. So the next thing is, obviously you use your E to get through walls, and obviously you use it to gank and such. However, something to note, the first thing to note about your E is, number one, when you're actually in your E form, sometimes you need to, for example, get to this side and you run out of E. What you can actually do here is, when you're in your E, you can actually use your Q to dash, and that will increase, quote unquote, increase your E's duration, because when you do this dash, obviously you're covering distance with your dash. Now obviously I still can't get from this wall to this wall because my E duration is not long enough, because I don't have any ability haste items. But in a real match where you have your ability haste items, you can actually get from this wall to this wall with your E. So another thing that is very underrated with your E is, aside from straight up going through walls, the two other uses of your E is for movement speed and also for getting back health. So you can see here that when you go E into a wall, you actually restore your health. So in through a wall obviously allows you to restore health, so you can actually just use it to heal, which is the main point of why you take E in your jungle clear. You can actually, for example, if you clear your blue and you're going to your wolves, for example, you can actually just do something like this. You can restore health and start doing the wolves at the same time. Another thing is, you can actually use it even without a wall, because don't forget your E lets you gain movement speed. So if you're running, sometimes that little bit of movement speed you get from your E could be the difference between you living or dying, or even chasing people down. It could be the difference between you getting the kill or not getting the kill. So that is of course another usage of your E. But with all that out of the way, of course we're done with our Kayn basic guide. Of course you guys can look forward to having a Kayn complete guide coming really soon. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.